Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I just would like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And some people I thank have inspired me. I hope they can inspire you as well. And I will have links below this video to their sites. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Belon Anava, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rabbi Daniel Asser, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, Rabbi Michael Skobach, Jews for Judaism, Rabbi David Ashir, Rabbi Yaron Ruvain, and Rabbi Yosef Chesney, excuse me, as well. If you've never checked out this channel before, I will have a link below to my first video, which explains what M.L.M for the Soul means, what it stands for, and what I'm doing. So this is for the upcoming Parasha, Parasha Vayigash, and this again is taken from the weekly Parasha Insights by Rabbi Eli Mansour, and I call this Retain Faith and Hope. So after Yosef revealed his identity to his brothers, he instructed them to return to Canaan to bring their father Yaakov Avinu and their families to live with him in Egypt. He sent his brothers with 10 donkeys carrying Mitov Mitzrayim, which means from the good of Egypt. So Rashi, in his first interpretation of this phrase, explains that it refers to Yayin Yashan, which is old wine. Why would Yosef send, quote, old wine to Yaakov? Did Yaakov really need especially aged wine? Is this what was on Yaakov's mind at this very emotional time, when he just discovered that the son whom he thought was killed 22 years ago earlier was in fact alive, and when he would be moving to Egypt to be with Yosef? Additionally, from where did Yosef get wine that Yaakov could drink? As we know, halacha forbids drinking wine prepared by non-Jews. Yosef was the only person in Egypt who could have made wine that Yaakov could drink. And as Rashi tells us earlier, Yosef did not drink wine throughout the period he was separated from his family. Clearly then, he was not making wine. How then did he have what we call a, quote, old wine? That was permissible, which he sent his father. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Nachum Mendel Schneerson, offers a beautiful explanation of Rashi's comments. He suggested that when Yosef was first brought to Egypt as a slave, he made wine. His life seemed to be falling apart. At just 17 years old, his brothers threw him into a pit and with snakes and scorpions, and then pulled him out to sell him as a slave. He was brought to a foreign country far away from home with no family, where he knew nobody, and worked as a slave. However, in a remarkable display of faith and hope, he prepared wine with which he planned to one day drink l'chaim, when he would be saved and reunited with his family. This bottle was 22 years old, prepared when Yosef was still a slave. This wine was prepared for precisely this time, when he would be reunited with his family. So Yosef wanted to show his father that throughout his ordeal he never lost faith. He always remained optimistic and hopeful, anticipating that one day somehow this crisis would be behind him. If we would have seen Yosef prepare this wine and express hope that he would one day use it for a fest of l'chaim, we would have thought he was delusional. But he wasn't. Yosef was a man of pristine faith. He had no idea how this crisis would pass, but he trusted that somehow it would, and indeed it did. And that's a great character trait, to have that much faith. I don't know if all of us could do that. That's my own side note. Anyway, so this is the lesson of the, quote, old wine sent by Yosef. It teaches us to always retain our faith in Hashem and our hope. Whenever we face a difficult situation, we must believe in Hashem's capacity to save us and trust that He can find a solution. We must remain hopeful and optimistic that one day we, like Yosef, will be able to drink l'chaim and celebrate the end of the crisis, no matter how intractable the problem seems to be at the present. Because, again, my own side note, so when you're in the present moment of what you're dealing with, it's very hard to think that way. But the fact that he was able to do that, that's what we learned from him. Like, wow, we need to do that at every moment that we're dealing with something that is difficult. Like, keep that faith and keep that optimistic way, and know that it's going to pass, and as hard as it is. So even in life's darkest moments, we can and must find within ourselves the faith to, quote, make wine, to believe that one day the darkness will be overcome by a great light of happiness and success. Amen. And I pray that we will all merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days, and the rebuilding of our final and everlasting Beit HaMikdash. Amen. And thanks for watching.